This edition of our podcast is brought to you by 360 Health and Well Balanced Nutrition.
Welcome to the Health Geeks Book Club podcast. Listen in as Kristen Norton and Eleanor Russell review all those great health and wellness books you've been wanting to read or you have read and want to talk about. Here's Kristen and Eleanor.
Hey everyone. Last episode, we had continued the conversation about a book called Infectious Generosity by Chris Anderson. And we still have our guest with us, Carolyn. And she had a great question. What was that question?
The question was about how can we spread generosity in a non-monetary way.
Excellent. So that's exactly what we're going to dive into today. We're talking about, from the book, 6 ways to give that aren't about money. And I think it's a great opportunity to share some inspiring stories. So I'm looking forward to diving in.
Yeah, that first one is about attention. And he's saying we should shift attention away from ourselves. And the Dalai Lama had this little thing where he said, we're self-centered and selfish, and we need to be wise about it. If we neglect others, we too will lose. So to fulfill our own interest, we need to be concerned about the welfare of others.
Indeed. And Eleanor, you've said on this podcast a handful of times that sometimes health can get into like a selfish realm, in a sense like we... Oh,
bioobservability?
Yeah, we're just too absorbed in how healthy, quote unquote, we are.
And measuring and monitoring ourselves.
And it's important. Health is important, but it's not like in the weeds that deep.
And I don't think that. I think health is the result of other things. It's just this barrage of information that are telling us what we need to be doing to be healthy. And we believe it because somebody told us, and then we just get absorbed into these schedules and, you know, what do we put in our mouth? What do we put on our bodies? How do we hold our bodies? Do we go to the doctor or not? You know, I mean, there's this, and then your attention's gone.
True. Yeah.
All on yourself because I want to keep my body healthy.
Mm-hmm. So if we can turn it away to others, that's also a benefit.
I think benefit. So, yeah. It's like laughing. It's like if we laugh, I think that probably counteracts some of the dietary restrictions that people are worried about. It's like if you're so stressed about what you're eating, your cortisol levels are up. And if you laugh, that diffuses it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Or pray or something else.
Are you ready to take control of your health and wellness journey, but don't want to do it alone? Look no further than Well Balanced Nutrition. We offer personalized nutrition and wellness coaching tailored to your unique needs. Our integrative, whole-person approach combines the latest evidence-based practices with compassionate guidance. Whether you're managing health concerns or seeking to optimize your well-being, take the first step towards a healthier, happier you by booking a free 15-minute consult with one of our registered dietitians at wellbalancednutrition.com. So just giving people attention, this can be in various forms, you know, volunteering, hanging out with someone who might be otherwise lonely. You know, even in the back when he gives us like questions to ask ourselves. He's like, if you're a caretaker in any way, you're giving your time and attention, and that counts for something. The second one, did you have any examples of attention before I move on to the second one?
I was going to say mentoring.
Mentoring, yes. That's a good one.
Yeah, I like that one because there's no gain really to be a mentor. You're not paid. It's just you really want to see this person succeed, and you have some wisdom that you can impart maybe, or observation, that third-party perspective that they don't have. It's a gift.
Let me just list off these 6 first. Okay, so attention, bridging, knowledge, connection, hospitality, and enchantment. So attention we talked about. Bridging, this one's interesting. This is kind of bridging the gap between people who are different from you.
I would say it's bridging conflict.
Bridging conflict, that's a better way to put it.
Yeah, the example that came to mind was the KKK guy and the African American who decided to talk to each other. and then attend meetings together. How brave.
Very brave.
Do you have that one?
So I highlighted the one about the guy on the internet, Dylan, and he met with his trolls, basically. But I remember that story. I don't know if I highlighted it or not. Yeah, he made friends. I don't think it's in this section. But the guy made friends with the leader of the KKK and even attended a rally.
Which I thought that was incredibly.
Yeah, Daryl Davis
brave.
and Roger Kelly. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Maybe I was looking at that one.
And they ended up becoming friends, and they stepped away. Roger Kelly from the KKK stepped away from that organization as a result. And I think they still go places and talk about how they were able to bridge the conflict. And it was by getting to know each other is basically what it came down to. That
as
I'm a
human
person
beings.
and you're a person, and we aren't really that different.
Right. And accept that we can have differences, but we're both people. Right. So you said that was Dylan?
It was Roger Kelly and Daryl Davis.
Oh, okay. Dylan Marin is used to haters on the internet. As a proudly progressive content creator, he made a series of social justice-oriented videos and then got a bunch of hate. And he developed an unexpected coping mechanism. He messaged a few of his trolls asking if they would like to get on the phone with him. He wanted to prove to himself that they were human beings.
Yeah, just of a bot.
Yeah. So while they were unable to see eye to eye on certain things, Dylan and one of the guys he talked with, Josh, were able to bond over their experience of being bullied in high school and mutual love of the movie Finding Dory. So as Dylan demonstrated, so often the key to bridging is to have a voice conversation with your foe or even get face-to-face. So Eleanor, how does that make you feel? It's getting off the internet and having a voice or face-to-face conversation with someone.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's preferable.
I've heard of like dinner parties, and this kind of around the elections, and we try not to get political, but where you have
Opposing viewpoints.
opposing viewpoints at the dinner, and you're just kind of
Social.
yeah, getting to know each other. So that's bridging.
All right, what's the third one?
Sharing knowledge.
Yeah. Because ideas are really powerful.
Yeah.
And I remember when I studied Western civilization as a youngster, and one of the things that I remember from that class was some philosopher had said that ideas are the most powerful thing in the world. And I didn't believe it. I said, nah. At that time, I thought, no. But with age, I have decided absolutely. Once an idea is out there, you cannot stop it.
Right.
I mean, if it's a good idea. If it's, it can't be torn apart, which most of ideas can't. Hey, if you're as interested in prevention as I am, contact me, Eleanor Russell, at 360health, 4u.com. Whether you're interested in financial wellness or physical health products, 360 Health invites you to become part of our community.
And we have the ability to spread our knowledge far and wide. And this, one of his examples is Khan Academy, and how this just started with a person who was trying to help a family member, a cousin who was struggling with unit conversion, and then found that other family members liked the way he taught it. And then he just recorded videos of the lesson, and then they could watch it on their own. And then that kind of spread to Khan Academy. And I don't know if you guys have used it, but I've used it to help my kids with math. It's great.
Yeah, it's free, isn't it?
And it's free.
It is. It's amazing.
Yeah, so, he just undervalued all these people that are out there tutoring for money. Sorry.
True.
Negative Nancy over here.
Okay, Nancy.
So I like this quote. One of the beautiful things about sharing knowledge is that even after you've given it away, you still own the knowledge for yourself. As Thomas Jefferson put it, he who lights his candle at mine receives light without darkening me.
Absolutely.
The giver is certainly giving up the right to the exclusive use of the knowledge, but there's a net positive.
Good old Thomas Jefferson.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I get frustrated sometimes, and you guys might too, with business marketing, right? You're giving away all your stuff. Kind of, this is to your point about the tutoring. You're supposed to give away or share things. And this has helped me shift my perspective a little bit. And yeah, we can give away these tidbits, but it doesn't really take away the interaction of being face-to-face or one-on-one for a coaching session or for whatever you offer. So you still might need a tutor.
Do you remember this is stretching, the book Happy Money we read?
Yeah.
Okay. And he talks about flow and that money flows and that you should have a relationship with your money that's happy, and you give it away gratefully and you don't begrudge the loss of money. You have to get the mindset. And I think that's probably the same thing with anything you give away that would be undercutting an economy. Because in a capitalist society, economy is important. In a communistic or communal structure, it's dispersed equally, and so it reduces the pressures for what we're talking about. So that is one of the other ideas that I think in this book there's an undercurrent toward a more distributive model.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. So don't know what to do with that, but it's interesting
is.
to think about.
Yeah. Here's a good one that I think everybody in this room is good at, and that's enabling connections. We're all part of networking, and that's a big thing of what we do is we connect other people that might need each other.
Yeah. Introduce, connect, convene, and the social networks that we build are just powerful. Isn't it fun to use them? I just love my social network.
Yeah.
When I hear somebody that needs something, I say, I know 2 people that could help you with that. Let me introduce you.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's great.
And there's a certain satisfaction
I'm fucking happy.
that you feel by connecting someone to a person or a resource that they were seeking.
And you know how on a previous episode I mentioned that Chris Anderson will take something that might be a negative or like a counter argument to what he's trying to say, and then
Like
he spins
Eleanor?
that. What? Like Eleanor? Like call her negative?
Chris and I need to get together.
Well, here is one that I liked. He says, the hardest thing about granting access to people is our fear that somehow we'll annoy our friends by imposing a new responsibility on them. So it's right to be thoughtful in how we make introductions. We shouldn't, for example, just simply share an email address. Instead, take the time to write to people to explain why you want to make an introduction and get their permission to do so. In so many cases, everyone is in a network benefits when special new people are added to it. So
It never hurts to meet great people.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which takes us to the next one, which is hospitality.
Extend hospitality. Yeah. This is a good one. And as I'm reading these things, Negative Nancy over there is so generous. I don't understand her. I'm like, Eleanor hits all of these things. She extends hospitality all the time to her people in her network. She's a connector. She's always sharing knowledge on this podcast.
I'm blushing.
Oh, okay. So, do you guys have any good examples of this one, extending hospitality?
Yeah. Rituals. Some of the rituals that we do are centered on hospitality, and they come out of our moral convictions sometimes. So, holidays are coming up this fall. I'm sure there will be some gatherings around those, with people to people around a table with food probably. And then weekly, there's some rituals that some people take part in, depending on their belief systems. And then their business organizations, through our Chamber of Commerce, we've got lots of rituals with that. So it's funny how the ritual has been something I've been thinking about since we've been discussing health and wellness, because one of the books we read talked about turning some of your self-care into a ritual. So I think I'm going to play around with that a little more. I might have more to say about that another time. But, yeah, I think it's good to think about extending hospitality and the role that ritual plays in that.
Nice. He talks about traditional dinner parties and how they're under threat.
Absolutely.
I agree.
I'm a proponent. And I even had a neighbor tell me that people are afraid to go to other people's houses now. And I was stunned. I went, Are you kidding? I've never thought of that. It's like your home has become your protected area, and you don't want anybody else coming in there, and you don't want to you don't want to intrude into anybody else's. I was flabbergasted, so I don't know what to do with that. I don't know if that's a current that's out there, but I invited people to gather, and I got no response in my neighborhood, just so we could know who each other is. Mm-hmm. And that was the answer I got, is we just don't like to go into people's houses.
Wow.
So
that's just completely foreign to me.
Yeah, me too. I was caught off guard, and I thought, well, maybe and the person said, maybe if you had an outside party when it gets warmer, because it was in the winter. I said, okay, well, let me think that through. So I might have an ice cream thing here in September and see if that works better.
There you go. Yeah.
Wow.
No, I can kind of feel that, though. I think it's a shame, but I do feel like more and more people my age are not gathering over dinner or inviting.
I wonder if it has to do with a more affluent place in your life or something, because when I was a graduate student and poor, man, we gathered all the time. We'd go to somebody's apartment. Everybody would bring food, drinks. We'd just have a blast, or we'd be out with a watermelon in the yard.
Maybe I just don't have the right social group.
Well, no, I don't think so. I think the American lifestyle has put so many pulls on us that, again, time is limited, attention is limited, and those of us that love our family say, I've already been away from my family most of the week. I want to see them and just
be home.
Be home. Yeah, so I think that's happening too.
That's a good point.
Unfortunately, we're too busy.
I don't want to dive into this, but I do want to mention it. He talks about whole table dinners, and I hadn't heard of these before. They're also called Jeffersonian dinners.
Jeffersonian?
Thank you. I butchered that.
No, you didn't.
Where you move away from opinion and towards feelings. And there's a whole guided video on this and questions that can engage a dozen people for an entire evening. Have you heard of these?
Not until I read about it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So some of the questions are, what have you seen recently that gives you hope? What is something you're worried about right now that few other people are worried about? How might you respond to that? So
it's a structured
deeper questions. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But then I was pleased that he ended, because maybe with people who are just shy about having people over in the first place, says, know that even if all you do is invite guests to your home for a cup of tea, your act of generosity may still be inside their heads for years to come.
You see, that's my preference. I like that one. But I'm also intrigued with the concept of the salon, and I have participated in that a couple of times where there is a focused discussion that's going to happen, and you know it before you come. Mm-hmm. And it's intellectually stimulating and eye-opening, and you get perspectives that, you're sharing knowledge, like in this. Okay. And maybe bridging conflict even in that kind of a conversation, because you're getting to know the person and the viewpoint they hold and why they have come to that viewpoint. So it's fascinating.
Absolutely. And then that brings us to the last one, enchantment. And as someone who's creative, I like this one, where you can just bring delight or awe.
There we go.
So it says, people need money, food, shelter, and health care, to be sure, but we also yearn for beauty, wonder, laughter, transcendence, all elements of enchantment. Those who can enchant can offer a gift of immense value. And he goes on to give an example of an artist who transformed an area. I don't remember the exact details, but it makes me think of what TIG, the AI thing, told me to do when I said I was an introvert, is to spruce up a local area. And I love painting rocks with positive messages on them. So I might just do that.
Oh, and didn't he get in trouble for leaving those rocks around? People started getting upset.
What?
Because he was littering the natural environment. I mean, there was one story in there that just jogged my memory on that. So, yeah.
And people just complain about it.
I know. I've been in the woods, and there's a group of people that leaves little wind chimes around. And I was delighted when I found one. I said, where did that come from? And it's like, well, 3 months ago, somebody walked through here and left it. And there was, a little message on it of hope, It's like, that's cool.
That's lovely.
just way out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
I did too.
But you'll have people that will say, that's just disturbing the wildlife.
Exactly.
And I don't like the sound of wind chimes.
That's
Blah, blah,
exactly
blah,
right.
blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. So take it down. If you find one, take it down. It's like,
Do not.
I have in my networking things run around a group of people that said people need their BLTs, and that means that they need to belong, and they need to be loved, and they need to have trust, and they need to feel safe. And when I look at that in this conversation, I'm thinking that's undermining this stuff as well. And physiologically, the belong and love kick out the oxytocin, which is, the love hormone. And then trust and safety are bridging that conflict and reducing stress and reducing the cortisol effect. So I think there is definitely, I said at the beginning, I wanted more about, I'm a health geek, how does, generosity affect your health? And I'm thinking that's what is the end product of generosity. People do feel that they belong, they're loved, they're safe, and they can trust.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it brings a sense of community and connection
Because of that.
because of it, that you might not otherwise
Yeah, you're not threatened.
experience.
You can remove some of the barriers between us.
Yeah.
Did you get into the catalysts for contagion since we're talking about infection?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, because I thought those were interesting. If it's infectious generosity, he's saying that we have to shift this from an invisible to a viral level. So right now, if it's anonymous, it's kind of quiet and nobody knows what's going on. Whereas if we're a little more public about it, then it can be shown or demonstrated, and it can be distributed on the internet, which he says is the fundamental route for this thing to take off.
Right.
Because it's global. Mm-hmm. And it'll be viral when we do that.
If you get creative, make it fun and entertaining, unlock emotion when you share it, then that's what he's saying.
Yeah, and that I had a question there because he used Mr. Beast as an example of how he was unlocking that emotion, and your son picked up on it immediately. But he's you got to be careful, and that he says it goes in the right direction. And I'm going to put the right in quotation marks because who determines what's right? And you can use emotion in a very negative way too. Mm-hmm. So that's where the heart comes in, I guess. The intent.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The intent is to help.
And you're saying...
Because you unlock emotion, you want to unlock the proper emotions.
Right.
Proper? I don't know. Ones that could produce the effects you want.
So, and I think he means sharing. So, like you share the story of your father's, was it a cafe?
Breakfast.
It was
Breakfast.
a breakfast.
Breakfast.
Mm-hmm. Saturday morning breakfast club.
So if, that went on the internet and you were interviewed, it would be like sharing a story of someone who was emotionally impacted by that place and how, versus just saying, hey, this is what we did, you should try it.
Exactly.
Do you have a sense of your father's motivation? Or was that private?
He saw the...
Was he ever hungry?
The suffering, and he didn't...
Was he a veteran?
He was a veteran from World War II. But I think it was more part of his living from his belief in Christianity as a minister, that...
To feed the hungry.
To feed the hungry.
Yeah, he'd been called. Yeah.
Yeah, he'd been called.
Yeah. That's beautiful. And you said get creative. One of another catalyst for getting this thing to be contagious. I love the example of the pimp my caroca.
Oh, yeah.
Pimp my cart. These trash collectors down in Brazil were picking up stuff off the road, but somebody came along and stuck a thing on their cart that said, "I'm proud to recycle. My cart doesn't pollute." and it caught on. And everybody started saying, "Well, that's right, it doesn't. Well, maybe we should all pick up our trash." And I thought that was fun. So that was very creative.
Very.
And low cost. Using something already there, but magnifying it, making it viral.
Yes.
And then digging deep for courage will help, because your father in that probably had to dig deep for some courage to start that breakfast. That's a big undertaking, and pay for it himself and not knowing where it was going to go. But that KKK and the African American, I think that was the example that we got for that.
Right.
And then reach out and collaborate. In the Chamber of Commerce, collaboration. What is her word? Not competition, but
It's
Co-opetition.
cooperation.
Cooperation.
Yes.
Yeah. That's fun. 1 + 1 + 1 + 1. You get the compounding effect. It feels small when you start, and so many of these examples were one person. And Maya Angelou, I think, says one person can make a difference. Or was it the Nobel Prize laureate? What was her name? Anyway, from Africa that did the water and planted trees.
Yeah.
Wangari Maathai. She said, I can plant a tree. And other people said, so can I. And so it became 1 million trees. And now it's 1 trillion, the reforestation. And then the last one is build an amplifier. And that fella that did the pay it forward movement, where he bought a cup of coffee for somebody or paid for the cup of coffee for the next person, just magnified. And I've been a recipient of one of those. I went through one of the fast food lines and didn't have to pay for anything. I said, why not? Well, the person in front of you paid for it. I didn't know who that was. And I was touched. So I've done it.
Yeah.
Because
I've been a part of that
because
too.
I had received it.
I've done it too.
Yeah, and we should do it again. It's not like a one-time thing. That was fun.
Yeah, we should bring that back.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
So pass it on.
Well, as we wrap up this book, any final thoughts? I have one, and then I'll leave listeners with something to try out. So my contribution is we've talked about the Chamber of Commerce, the Louisville Clemens Chamber of Commerce.
Our friend.
And my act of generosity is to mention a couple of organizations that you might not have heard about. One is the Wells Center, and the second is Miracles Insight.
Absolutely.
So go look those up. They might be something that align with your values.
And fostering faith.
Yes.
And fostering faith. And House of Hope. And like we said, it doesn't have to be money that you donate. These organizations often need other things. So,
You're making me think of that conversation here about small business and corporate, and where most of the money is produced through corporate structures. Small businesses do a lot of business, but the effect. Let me see if I've got that right. Did you remember that chart?
so if larger corporations could offer
Magnify
more for nonprofits, is that was
I
what
think
it
that's what he was trying
the
to say. He
case?
said the small businesses are the most philanthropic, and compared to the large businesses. But then I look at all the sponsorships that, like Flow Motors does in our town. They do give back to the community, and there are others that do as well. But that one came to mind. So I was wondering about that disparity that he seemed to be addressing, and I wasn't sure what to do with that because I think small business runs the world. So it's okay for me to think that it's the most philanthropic. But I guess he was suggesting the volume of dollars we have may
You
not
hit a ceiling.
be as resourceful. We don't have the resources in our small businesses.
Exactly.
Maybe that's the point. So how do we encourage our corporations to embrace this, or how do we infect them, I think is
Right.
the word. And I think these catalysts of contagion are the way that we're going to do that,
Yeah,
if that's the outcome we want.
absolutely. Well, listeners, what I suggest you try out is asking yourself the questions that Chris asked at the back of the book. He suggests an annual generosity checkup where you look at, is the work that you're doing fundamentally contributing to the world versus exploiting the world? And if it is exploiting, is there something that you can do about that? In your personal time, are you regularly acting on behalf of others? And I like that he goes in to explain this a little bit, that it doesn't have to be all your personal time, but even just a little bit of that, if it could be helping to others. Is my carbon footprint fully offset? Am I making personal resources and skills available to others? Am I being generous with my money? Am I practicing a generosity mindset? Am I looking for every opportunity for my generosity and that of others to be infectious? Mm-hmm. And it's not that you have to have perfect yeses and great things in all of these, but as Tim so lovely put it, a net positive.
A net positive.
A net positive, yep.
When I do my review, I'm going to consider one of these things. He talks about most of the generosity comes, I think I got this right, historically from a faith center, and he had his thing when he was 15 in a church. But he addresses, he's not church now, and he calls himself not religious now, and he says that that's not a problem for generosity. You can still not have that and be generous because it's a human wired thing that we've talked about biologically.
And I am that too. I'm not religious, but I like to think that I am about being a good human and expecting other humans to be good too.
Yeah, and so he says from the Christian perspective, people have been called to tithe 10%. And from the Islam perspective, 10% of their income. And from the Islam tradition, it's 2% of your wealth. Mm-hmm. And so he talks about how if you're looking at your financial giving or your time giving, you can apply these numbers the way you want to do it. But it's an interesting thing to assess, to see, if you want to take that as a structure. Which method is best for you, and which one can you afford to do and run your household or whatever, so that you're not one of the people that needs to be helped, so that you can be responsible for yourself and have something to share with someone else.
Or build your way up to that.
Exactly how to step into it, yeah. but that if you want to do that. But I thought it was interesting that he brought that into, okay, you need some guidelines or some, what are you shooting for? Here's what tradition has suggested if you want to honor your beliefs. That's all I was going to say about that. So I'm Eleanor at 360 Health, making healthy happen and living age-free. If you want to do that, give me a call or connect with me at 360health4u.com.
And I'm Kristen Norton of Well Balanced Nutrition. Visit us at wellbalancednutrition.com for a free coaching clarity call.
And we're so happy that Carolyn Bennett Sullivan was able to join us for this conversation. And how would they get in touch with you?
Thank you so much for including me. They can get in touch with me at carolyn@softgolf.net.
Excellent. Hey guys, keep reading. We're going to keep reading, and we hope you enjoy what you learn.
Thanks for listening.
Views and opinions stated in this podcast are solely those of the contributors and are not necessarily those of our distributors or hosting company. This podcast is copyrighted, and no part can be reproduced without the expressed written consent of Kristen and Eleanor.